So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about how to choose your prop controller. So I've got a handful of them here. I've got some old ones that I hate. I'm actually ripping them out. So as an example, I mentioned on my page that my favorite is this MN. It's by Purgatory Props. And the reason I like it is it's easy to mount on your boards. It's easy to hook your wires in with a little screwdriver. And the most important thing is you might need to provide your own power or get some. So this thing is not self-powered. It has a little slot for a memory card right here. So you can pop out this little SIM, take it into your computer, hook it at your computer, and change your audio files around. The nice thing about this one is, like every prop controller, it's got buttons to allow you to program it. The company comes up with its own instructions, has a record option. But what's neat about this one is it's super easy to say when it gets triggered. So when you're buying a prop controller, it'll talk about the number of inputs. So the number of inputs are the number of ways that you could trigger the prop. So oftentimes you only need one, which could be a motion sensor or a foot switch or whatever you want to do. So you have one input and then you'll have multiple outputs. This one has 4 and there are a total of 8 connectors. So when it gets triggered, this basically is outputting somewhere between 5 to 12 volts, which can then turn things on and off. If you're running low voltage LED things, they tell you you can just plug it right in. This thing can actually power quite a bit. It's got, depending on the power of your power supply, it can handle all that. If you're going to power something bigger, like a 110 fan or a big light or something big, then you can use a relay. And these are things like a relay. We can talk about those later when we go to assemble props. But this allows you to take your 12 volts coming out of here, flip a relay. This relay then allows you to run something here. I would always recommend, if you're going to buy these, this is not one of them, get one that's called a normally open, normally closed, which gives you an option for doing one thing when it's on and another thing when it's off. This is a one-time, meaning this turns on, this turns something on. I can't do anything when it's off. But there are others that I've purchased like this that have a normally open, normally closed. Really cool when you want an ambient effect of a light, and then it gets triggered, it does something else, and then it goes back to the other light. So anyways, any of your outputs can control that. Most of the things people put on the outputs, however, are things like a pneumatic air controller. Lots of places sell these. So once again, these are on 12 volts. This gets triggered, told to by when you program, puts out voltage, voltage turns this on, and some of these valves, when you go to buy them, also have a one-way and a two-way option. A one-way option means it'll open up, let air in, the cylinder goes big, and then it uses gravity to get back. So it just lets the air out. We can talk when we go to assemble things, how to control that speed. The other option is if you have a double, then what you're gonna have is double air. So you're gonna have 2 sets of wires, 2 sets of controllers, so that when you push one button, it goes up, and the other one, it forces it back with air. So you might need 2 outputs for a double, or 1 output if you're gonna let gravity do it. But this is their basic controller. You're gonna get 4, which is more than enough than you want. You're gonna get full audio, all you need. This thing actually even has an audio out. What I used to do is go and buy a separate set of powered computer speakers. This particular one can actually power actual speakers, has its own amplifier. You don't even need to have that. So if you got some speakers, you can have that hooked up. Don't buy horns. Those horn speakers suck. Yes, they're all weather, but they don't sound good. Anyways, so this is that controller I like. Now, here's where the difference comes in. So this is another company, and they have the same kind of thing where it says outputs. And they have outputs. And now this company, which is Freight Props, You'll notice it says normally open, normally closed. They actually have relays of their own inside. These guys don't have relays. So these guys can actually power 110 right through here because that relay I showed you is built in. This one, if you're doing over 12 volts, you need to add your own. Once again, programming buttons, just like others. This is an older model. You can't do anything with the audio. Models like this don't have audio at all, like zero audio at all. I bought some props fully ready to go from this company. Air cannons. This works great. Doesn't need audio. It's making its own noise, so that's wonderful. I've got one prop that actually screams as a spider when this goes off. I hate the sound. I can't change the sound. And some of the older model controllers required you to take it off, hook it to your computer. You don't want to do that. So if you're buying a brand new controller and you want audio, make sure it has ambient, trigger audio, and whether you could do multiples, and a card you can remove. If you are being told that you have to hook up audio cable, push a record button, play on your computer, that's 80s stuff. Don't do that. So all these have plus and minuses. This was a guy I saw. Now, it's called Kirk controllers. Now, you notice this is a 3D printed. It's very exposed. If you have somewhere to mount it, you could protect it. These guys were really inexpensive. What I liked about Kirk controllers is it's a single guy making these electronics. It could do some really cool things. So if you want to do something much more with a computer, that's kind of more what this is. Something very complicated. But once again, you might want to put it in another box. You could take it out of here. But I bought theirs to play with. Haven't done anything with them yet. But one of the cool things that Kirk controllers had is Pico motion sensors. So a Pico motion sensor is adjustable to be able to pick up motion in a very, very short distance. You're going to see a lot of motion controllers out there that it's like 10 feet, 15 feet, 50 feet. Well, that means somebody could trigger it way too early. These can go down to a foot, 5 feet, which means it's not going to get triggered unless the person is literally looking and investigating, what is this thing on the wall? And then it's going to get triggered. It's going to really get them. So look at the distance when you do this. Now this would be one of the inputs for the controller. I get too close, sends a signal, triggers the input, and most inputs are simply connecting two wires. Foot pad connects two wires. Don't use the foot pads from the Halloween store, the spirit ones. Those run differently. Those are like a microphone. It's piezoelectric. You need one that just simply you push it together, it goes on, push it, it goes off. And that is what most motion sensors do because they have their own switch ability inside, which is why you hear them click when they get triggered, because they're actually just closing the loop of the circuit. And so that's the bulk of the controllers. You're going to find fancier controllers with simply more inputs, more outputs. But what's going to happen is if you get much bigger than 4 outputs and you have a really complicated prop that is supposed to go like back and forth and up and down and move a jaw and wiggle its eyes and all kinds of stuff and mix audio, this is going to drive you crazy trying to program that because you'll be sitting there pushing the buttons, trying to get your prop to do what it wants because you literally have to hit record and then simulate this yourself and you're listening to the audio. I think I'm going to have this. If you're nervous at all, you might go crazy. So I don't like this for complicated props, which is where controllers and some other stuff might let you sit on a computer and actually set timelines and actually program it because it's actually a computer, which gets very exacting of when does it push, when does it pull, when does it make a motor do whatever it does. So hopefully that gets you started on controllers.